evening. The UK has confirmed that British fighter jets have joined the operation to defend NATO's eastern borders as tensions with Russia escalate. It follows incursions by suspected Russian drones into Poland and Romania, as well as alleged violations of Estonian airspace. The Czech President Petr Pavel said NATO should act firmly if the violations continue by shooting down Russian jets if necessary. Polish and other NATO aircraft were put on alert again yesterday after Russia launched hundreds of missiles and drones at neighbouring Ukraine.
The United Kingdom has stepped up its military commitment to NATO by deploying Royal Air Force Typhoon fighter jets to Poland, a move that underscores rising tensions along the alliance's eastern border. This decision follows a series of alarming incidents in which Russian drones and aircraft repeatedly violated Polish and Estonian airspace. For NATO officials, such incursions are not minor provocations but serious challenges to the credibility of collective defense. Britain's deployment is meant to send a clear message: NATO territory is inviolable, and any attempt to undermine the security will be met with swift and decisive action. British Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper described the incursions as some of the most serious violations of NATO's borders in recent years.
Було чутно, як все ближче ці шахет приближається, зрозуміло, що летить кудись на нас. Дуже з дитиною спугались.
According to her, Russia is testing the resolve of the alliance, probing for weaknesses and seeking to create divisions among member states. The UK's immediate response with air defense support is intended not only to reassure Poland and other frontline NATO members, but also to demonstrate that unity remains strong within the alliance. Military analysts argue that such quick and visible deployments are essential to deterrence, as hesitation could embolden Moscow to escalate further. The presence of British jets in Poland is part of NATO's wider Eastern Sentry operation, which aims to maintain constant surveillance and defense capability across the alliance's eastern flank. The Typhoons will carry out joint patrols with Polish forces and other NATO allies, ensuring rapid interception in the event of further Russian activity. For Poland, which shares a long and vulnerable border with Russian ally Belarus, the reinforcement provides both practical security and symbolic reassurance. For the UK, the move reaffirms its post-Brexit role as a leading contributor to European stability and a key player in NATO's strategy. While NATO's attention is fixed on Eastern Europe, the United Kingdom has also taken a bold step on the diplomatic front. In a coordinated announcement, the UK, alongside Canada, Australia, and Portugal, officially recognized the State of Palestine. Prime Minister Keir Starmer emphasized that this recognition is designed to keep the two-state solution alive at a time when hope for peace is fading.
Кожен зараз бачить російське втручання і проти Польщі, і вчора проти Естонії. Це не випадкові речі. Росіяни будуть намагатися далі поширювати свою агресію, свою destabilization, своє втручання.
He stressed that the decision is not a concession to militant groups, but a response to the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza and the growing international demand for justice and statehood for Palestinians. This recognition marks a historic policy shift for Britain, which has long supported a negotiated settlement but stopped short of formal recognition. Supporters of the decision argue that it restores credibility to the idea of a two-state solution, putting pressure on Israel to engage in meaningful peace talks. Critics, however, warn that recognizing Palestine without direct negotiations risks hardening positions and could further destabilize an already volatile region. Israel's government reacted swiftly, condemning the move as one-sided and dangerous, warning that it could embolden Hamas and weaken Israel's security. The United States also made its opposition clear. Washington expressed deep concern over Britain's decision, with senior officials calling it performative and premature. According to the White House, Palestinian statehood can only be achieved through direct negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians, not through unilateral declarations or external recognition. U.S. officials stress that Israel's security must remain the top priority, alongside guarantees for governance, stability, and the release of hostages still held in Gaza. For Washington, Britain's move risks undermining delicate diplomatic efforts and straining transatlantic unity. These two developments, the defense of NATO's border and the recognition of Palestine, reveal the complex balancing act the United Kingdom is attempting to perform on the world stage. In Europe, it is positioning itself as a staunch defender of collective security against Russian aggression. In the Middle East, It is taking a more independent and humanitarian-driven approach, even if it means diverging from the position of its closest ally, the United States. This dual role highlights Britain's attempt to remain a global power with influence across multiple theaters of conflict. The risks, however, are undeniable. On NATO frontier, each airspace violation carries a possibility of miscalculation. A single incident involving Russian and NATO aircraft could trigger a wider conflict, something both sides say they wish to avoid but continue to edge closer toward. In the Middle East, the recognition of Palestine could complicate Britain's relations with Israel, while also exposing divisions among Western allies. At a time when unity is essential, disagreements over Middle East policy could send mixed signals to both Israel and the Palestinian leadership. Looking ahead, the next few weeks will be critical. NATO will need to determine whether Russia's actions are isolated provocations or part of a broader strategy to weaken the alliance's cohesion. In the Middle East, the international community will watch closely to see whether Britain's recognition of Palestine encourages others to follow suit or deepen political divides. Either way, the United Kingdom now finds itself at the center of two unfolding crises, each carrying significant consequences for international stability. For now, one thing is clear: Britain is signaling that it will not remain a passive player. Whether in the skies over Eastern Europe or in the halls of diplomacy over the Middle East, London is making choices that carry both opportunity and risk. The challenge will be to maintain credibility on both fronts, defending NATO security without escalating conflict and supporting Palestinian statehood without undermining long-term peace. The world will be watching how Britain navigates these dual responsibilities in the weeks and months ahead.
We won't talk about that, but we're talking now to Afghanistan, and we want it back, and we want it back soon, right away. And if they don't do it, you're going to find out what I'm going to do.
The Taliban, who took over the base following the US withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021, reject the demand. They're seen here at Bagram in 2024, marking the third anniversary of their return to power. China's responded with this.